Hey now, welcome to the City Off Campus podcast with your two favorite hosts, Sammy Sommerfeld and Jack McFarland. So guys, today we're going to just talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about NFL draft, our little recap on the draft, our reaction to the Chicago Bears and the moves they made, as well as some other teams. We're also going to be touching on Iowa spring football. I actually went to the spring football practice because I wanted to see where our team was at, unlike Jack, who's kind of an Iowa State fan, but we'll get on that a little bit later. And then we'll touch on a few other fun things today. But going into it, going after the draft, I felt like a champion, Jack. So doing this podcast, I had to wear my Chicago Cubs 2016 World Series champs t-shirt because the next time I talk about a championship in this city is going to be the Chicago Bears with Justin Fields leading us to a Super Bowl. So I thought it was only right to start things off on a very positive trend. So,
well, I don't know if Fields is going to be the next one. I think, we might be 4 years away from that window, but the team that's really in that window right now is the White Sox, but we're not talking about them today. First in the AL Central.
They're all hurt.
Best run differential in the entire MLB with their entire team hurt. They have the best team ERA. No, it's okay. We don't need to talk about the Sox, but yes, Justin Fields to the Bears, obviously that's a franchise-altering move. The Bears have never had a quarterback as electric as him, as any quarterback like him ever. It instilled a feeling of hope that Bears fans have never, ever felt before from a single pick, and I think that this is I don't know, man. I get really scared thinking about how cool this could be because I could definitely see the Bears screwing this up somehow because they've never had. They don't even know what to do right now. So I could see this screwing up. I could see this going really well. I'm treading on thin ice right now. I'm curious to see how this unfolds.
I'm going to tell you something. My floor for him, and this is my floor for him, is he is at minimum tying the greatest Chicago Bears quarterback of all time, which is Jay Cutler. I think his floor is playing like Jay. That's what I think his floor is. But I think his ceiling, I saw a thing today on Twitter. He's the third fastest quarterback in the NFL right now with Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. That gets me so hyped because he's a huge dude. He's bigger than both of them, I think. And then he's fast. He's going to be a durable guy. He has the strength. He's one of those guys where if he's running, I'm not going to be worried about him getting hurt. Even if he gets hit in the pocket multiple times like a game, I'm not really going to be worried about it because I think he's going to be a very durable guy. But the thing I'm excited the most about is actually our second round move of getting Teven, because the Teven offensive lineman, because Jack, he was our first round pick for the Bears. Mm-hmm. That's who we thought the Bears were taking with the number one at 20. So for us to get a quarterback and a lineman like that, it's a win right there. Not even diving into the rest of the draft yet, but I just wanted to touch on that. But with Justin Fields, he's a playmaker. And the thing is, we talked about Fields fatigue that everybody had. The Bears didn't have Fields fatigue. Matt Nagy literally said he talked to Ryan Day the year before talking about Justin Fields and the type of player, and Day was just like, he's a dude. That's basically what Day was saying. He's a dude, and that stuck with him. And you just watch the tape. You look at the 50-plus touchdowns he threw, leading them to the national championship this past year. He has the poise. He knows how to do it. He's an elite talent, and I'm just excited to see how he plays in Chicago.
Yeah, the only thing I have concern when you mentioned Teven Jenkins is I love the trade up for him. I love the move. But to put all of that pressure on him day one to be your starting left tackle isn't something that I'm completely sold on. It was a slight surprise to see Charles Leno cut. Yeah. I was never against it. But to draft Teven Jenkins, who looks like a pure right tackle, to try and convert him to left tackle it's a bigger transition. I think a lot of people will think just because of the type of pass rusher that comes off of that side compared to being a right tackle. It's a completely different breed, and it's a completely different position when you have to flip your body and learn a completely opposite way of blocking. Your right hand is no longer your outside hand, it's your inside hand. You just have to flip everything. And he doesn't have the biggest, longest body. He's a body. He's a mauler. I'm curious to see if he can make that transition to left tackle, but both moves, Fields and Jenkins, they have a ton of hype right now from Bears fans, and they should. These moves they set a cornerstone, but it puts a lot of pressure on both of them because they were traded up for, both of them were, and both of them are now going to be thrusted into premier positions on this offense where it's been the thing that the Bears have been lacking from. So if we don't see that production, I think from day one, I think a lot of Bears fans will be upset with Jenkins and just saying, why the hell did we cut Leno? Why did we move him from right to left? I could see Bears fans doing that. So I think there is going to be a lot of pressure this upcoming year. I don't know how well the Bears are going to do with it. I don't know how I could see the Bears going like, what? Isn't it 7-10 now? Isn't that like the realistic record? Because they added that dumb game.
Yeah, stupid.
I could see 7-10, and that's what I'm
weird to
cool
hear.
With that.
It's so weird to hear 7-10 because that sounds so wrong to me. Just sounds so wrong. Like, it just disgusts me hearing 7-10. But going off of that though, I didn't want to give in to the hype, but when you look at the moves made, I look at so many things about them that make it worth buying into the hype, which is for Pace and Matt Nagy. This is in terms of Bears fans of how we look at them, it's a win-win. And I've said this before, is if we draft Fields and he is a dynamic playmaker, he plays well his first year or two, and Matt Nagy gets to do what he wished he could have still done with Patrick Mahomes when he was in Kansas City. It's a huge win for us because we got our guy for the next 12 to 15 years. If he's not that dude, or if the team falls apart and collapses, we get to say goodbye to Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, and we get to start over with an athletic quarterback at the helm. So to me, it's a win-win because Pace made some big moves that I felt like he should have been making a while ago. I think he missed on some big moves, Mitch. But I'm just excited. Like, I just feel like I was so deflated as a Bears fan by the end of the year, where even in our playoff game, I was just like, this isn't even worth watching. Like, I'm going to watch, but I know we're not doing anything special. Like, we're going to fall apart at some point, or we're going to lose this game. And so I think to see, even in that locker room, them knowing they have a guy who has the talent and played at the highest level and really competed, I think it's going to be huge from a locker room standpoint for Bears fans, because I think Bears fans can actually buy into their team again. And this is the first time in a long time we can really buy into a quarterback again. The last time I bought into a quarterback was when Jay got traded to Chicago. Like, that was the first time I got hyped about a quarterback playing. So it's just, I think this changes the game for the franchise if it pays off.
Oh, easily. It's, when you trade for what many would call quarterback 2, and you trade up for him and you get him at number 11, and what you have to give up is the 20th overall pick, a fourth, I think, and a future pick. And it's like, okay, we traded a mid-round pick and a future pick for the second best quarterback in the draft, and we got him outside of the top 10. Holy fuck, that's insane. Like, that's not something you walk into a draft expecting. Everybody expected the Bears to have to draft, or trade up rather, to Miami at 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or Dallas. And none of that transpired. But I think one thing we need to take a step back and say thank you to is we need to say thank you to the Eagles.
Yeah.
Because if the Eagles don't take Devontae Smith, they don't make that trade, who knows if Justin Fields is even there. We also have to say thank you for Denver for buying into a lot of media skepticism, because they didn't take Fields because they really think that they're in on the Aaron Rodgers situation, which we haven't talked about either. But the fact that Denver passed up on Fields when it's been known that they are not all in on Locke, and they've already went out and got Teddy B because they want some veteran competition, and which is, I mean, you got average at best in Teddy B. The stars could not have aligned any better for the Bears to do what they did. And some people will say, oh, it was an overpayment. Look at what Philly gave up to trade up with New York. I think they trade up with New York, right?
Yeah.
No.
Philly with New York. Yeah. No, the Bears trade with New York. Philly traded up with Dallas. Yeah. So if they had not done that,
we may never get to have the chance to trade up with the Giants. Like there was so much that went on, and of course it's draft day, classic. You know, you never know what's going to happen when you come in. I will say the biggest surprise for me in that first round, though, kind of off topic from the Bears, was definitely Jamar Chase going at number 5. I thought
you were surprised by that? I thought that's what was
absolute
happening.
Lunacy by the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, but the logical pick obviously would have been to get the OT. But how, like, you know what? From the fun coaching perspective, you know, it was stupid not to get the alignment. It was stupid because now Burrow's going to get wrecked.
Well, how many people did you see say the Lions got the steal of the draft getting Penei Sewell?
I know, that's what I'm saying. Everybody said that. I totally agree. But, you know, from the fun perspective of like in a perfect world, get the two guys that dominated college football back together. That's one of the things where it's just like, that's a Madden move. They did a Madden move.
Like Travis Etienne getting traded or drafted to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, that's a Madden move.
When they have an undrafted free agent and James Robinson dominated the league last year. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
it's a Madden move.
But then again, Urban Meyer just got Tim Tebow and made him his tight end. So I think we're living in a Madden season, to be honest. I'm calling 2021 a Madden season.
Yeah, and it's how many free agents are there? There's still like some pretty good free agents out there. There's got to be. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Wait, Antonio Brown had just signed. Yeah,
he signed with Tampa.
I'm trying to think. So if I was playing Madden NFL right now and I clicked on the free agent tab, I'm pretty sure Richard Sherman would be at the top.
Yep.
Where like that's a phenomenal player. And speaking of the cornerback position, we got to talk about the Bears for one more half second. Their defense is going to be sus next year. Majorly sus. If anyone sits back and says this team's going to be good because the Bears got that defense, no, like they don't know football.
No secondary.
We don't have a corner with a damn outside of Jalen Johnson, and he got picked on last year because nobody wanted to throw at Kyle Fuller. So the second we got rid of Kyle Fuller, we inserted Desmond Trufant, who, by the way, if anyone forgot, he got hurt last year in that first game against Detroit that allowed Mitch to make everyone fall in love with him again. We don't have corners, period. Like, this is a problem. If we don't have a pass rush again.
Well, we were doing the pod when we found out Kyle Fuller got let go.
Right. If
it was miserable.
Pass rush again, if Robert Quinn flops, if we aren't able to really collapse the pocket, we are going to have a terrible year defensively. This team is going to look way worse than anybody ever expected, I think. And Sean Desai can do a lot with what he's been given, but it can't be overstated that they've just re-signed to Sean Gibson, who, I mean, he's a fine opposite safety, but anybody opposite Eddie Jackson's good.
Yeah, but he hasn't done it, and he hasn't done anything since his Pro Bowl year in 2014.
No, so this defense is sus, and I think next year they'll probably really hammer addressing that. They've got a lot of core pieces on offense now to work with. You got quarterback, running back, OT. You got a good receiver. I think they're going to extend A-Rob to maybe lower his cap hit for this year and the next year. I think that would make sense, just given to where they're going. Like, they've already got rid of Leno. I don't see Hicks getting moved this year.
No.
I could see him lasting his contract. I don't think you can move him this year with how the cap's gone. But I think, like, we're going to see, like, a very defense-oriented draft next year. But this offense is, like, you could see this offense kind of starting to come around, and it's optimistic.
Corner is our biggest weakness right now, and I think we have to do something with that still. But if you look at the team, and we have some veteran pieces there who, I don't know, like Robert Quinn, who I have no clue if he's going to perform or not and live up to that contract at all. But wishful thinking, I look at the front seven, and I'm like, we have some dudes there who can rush the quarterback, make some plays, where we have an offense now that's going to keep them off the field a lot more. Which I think is going to make a huge difference. So if we do go into the season with a weaker secondary, I wishfully hope that our offense just kind of takes over and lets the defense chill a little bit after the last couple of years of the defense being everything. But two Chicago-related questions I want to ask you are, first, you talked about trading down, or the Bears trading up and getting him at 11, but we talked about quarterbacks falling. Justin Fields fell. Is Fields the Mahomes of the Bears? Because Matt Nagy brought that Mahomes magic.
100%.
Mahomes fell.
1,000%.
Is Fields that? And then, is this going to be Fields' division? So let's talk about the Rodgers thing. So there's a lot of drama going on in Green Bay right now. If Rodgers is coming back, if he's gone, if he's leaving, who's going to take him? You know, the 49ers called up during the draft asking the Packers, hey, any chance that Rodgers, Kyle Shanahan calling his good buddy Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur said he's a Packer, but then everything else started to trickle in with Adam Schefter reporting with no real sources and all that stuff. So the Broncos think they're getting him. You know, my guy Stink out of Denver, he was pretty vocal about Rodgers going to Denver, but if Rodgers leaves and Jordan Love takes over the Packers, is it Fields' division? We got Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins in there. Can Fields take over? No, just like Mahomes. When Mahomes came in, there were no quarterbacks really in that division that were really that competitive. If you look at Denver, if you look at, the Chargers, it was Phillip Rivers, and Oakland was Carr. But they are who they are at that point. So could you really say it was that competitive, or it was a guy aging out and Carr who just is Carr, big arm, but doesn't ever do much with it? So could this be could the NFC North be the Bears division for years to come?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how
leaves.
I'm curious to see how they handle this first year with Fields, because I think a lot of people are going to be begging for Fields to come on the field, and I think the Bears are going to be really complacent with not playing him.
Yeah.
I could see a scenario where Fields never plays this year and they really go full Mahomes route. I could see a lot of blue checkmark experts calling that an absolute mutiny and calling for the resignation of both Pace and Nagy.
I don't think he sits out the whole year, because it's a totally different situation too with Dalton compared to Alex Smith, who was an established quarterback in that system, led them to the playoffs. People forget, they were a playoff team with Alex Smith, and they were a pretty good team too. Andy Dalton's coming in. They're like, Red Rocket, we need you until we don't. That's basically the Rockets' job right now. And I'm for it. My whole thing is, let Fields sit out the first half of the season. If we're competitive for the playoffs and everything, throw him in and go for a run. That's my thing. Be back with us?
Froze. Thanks, Mediacom. Yeah, it's all Mediacom's fault. But honest to God, Fields could probably play week 1. I don't know if they'll throw him out, because I think they're gonna have a little PTSD about how Mitch was rolled out, and they signed Glennon. They don't really play Glennon. They throw Mitch to the Wolves. Doesn't really go well for his development.
That wasn't Matt though. That was John Fox, who was trying to save his job.
I'm well aware, but Ryan Pace was there for all of it. So he's going to stress this to Matt, that don't fuck this up with how you manage my quarterbacks, period.
But I think the thing that I'm excited about, we've ragged on Matt Nagy for a while, because also, too, Trubisky wasn't his guy. And I think it took us a while for, the public to really realize that Trubisky wasn't his guy, because we thought Matt Nagy was this quarterback guru coming in, and he was going to do everything he could to make Mitch the number 2 worthy pick that he should have been. But if you look at Matt Nagy now, he just looks excited. He's going to be able to coach the type of football he wants to coach. He's going to have the options of drawing plays, calling plays that he wants to call. And I think with Matt Nagy, it's his project. I hope Pace is going to be hands off here. That's what I really hope. I hope the front office just lets Matt Nagy. And honestly, from what Matt Nagy has been saying, it seems like it's his thing. It seems like it's his. They drafted the guy. It's his job to coach him now. And I have faith in that. I really do. I'm completely rejuvenated with Matt Nagy as our coach. I think, honestly,
I do too.
Honestly, in a perfect world, I want to see Matt Nagy stay and Pace leave. That's my perfect world scenario. I'm bringing a new GM, because I just don't think Pace has the eye of evaluating talent.
Ridiculous. I don't know how you can say that.
How? I said in a perfect world. I mean, the coach is probably going to go with the GM, but I'm saying if we could keep him and get rid of Pace, I'd happily do it. And Jack froze. In the meantime, this is just going to be a quick 30-second thing about how Mediacom always messes up the podcast. Mediacom, we've been over this with you. We've had issues on Twitter. Please stop messing with the podcast when we're recording. Please stop, Mediacom. Like Mediacom, we've had enough. Like, get your Wi-Fi up to speed, help the boys out, and keep giving everybody a good show. Jack?
Yo, we're back.
Great.
I don't need Mediacom when I got a hotspot.
Exactly. Did you hear my Mediacom?
Yeah, I heard a little banter about it. Not a fan.
I gave a perfect 30-second bit about how Mediacom.
I could literally. I don't think they even deserve 30 seconds, Sam. That's the problem. Fuck Mediacom. In any case, to kind of wrap up the Bears, like what you just said about Ryan Pace, I'm not totally on board with it. Just because I'm not like 1,000% against Ryan Pace. Like,
okay, but I'm going to call you out here on something you said before.
Yes.
Say as a talent evaluator, he is very poor at his job. You have said that.
He is poor offensively. He has done everything he needs to do defensively, and that is, look, he has deficiencies.
Robert Quinn contract?
No man is perfect. Robert Quinn contract. He drafted Eddie Jackson, Adrian Amos, Jalen Johnson, traded for Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith. I mean, the guy put together a Super Bowl defense, and he flopped on a quarterback that every expert had going number one. I mean, shit, the guy knew that he needed to take a quarterback that could play now, and it was between Watson or Trubisky, both ACC guys. He took the wrong one. That's a big blemish, but the guy's rebounded. Not a whole lot of GMs can say they rebounded from a Mitch Trubisky and got a fucking Justin Fields. That's ridiculous. The fact that he's done that and still has maintained a semi-core while enduring this cap hell that COVID has given. Yeah, we had to cut Kyle Fuller. We were going to have to because we never extended the guy. Like, that's just a matter of fact. Yeah. I'm cool with Ryan Pace. I'm more hesitant with Matt Nagy because there's been a lot of excuses over the years. There's been moving play calling from him to Laser, from different quarterbacks saying, oh, I'm excited to work with Foles, see what we can have together. Mm-hmm. He's made a lot of excuses over the years. Now he's got the best quarterback he could ever ask for.
That's why he's set up for success. And if he doesn't do anything,
it is. And I think it was Dan Orlovsky posted it on draft night, right when the Bears made that pick. He said, look, phenomenal pick. This is a franchise-altering pick, but it is on Matt Nagy. And it's like, we've heard a ton about Matt Nagy being this offensive guru. Will he be? We'll see. I mean, he's got the guy. He can't make an excuse and say Justin Fields is not that guy. We saw it in college. Like you said, Natty Champ. He's the reason the Big Ten played this year. Thank you, Justin Fields. You're the reason the Big Ten played. Like that's the type of guy that the Bears are getting. You don't get that very often.
We're literally getting the Midwest Justin Fields. I mean, the Trevor Lawrence of the Midwest right now. That's who we're getting.
A lot of people were like, the best quarterbacks in Bears history. Jay Cutler,
Sid Luckman.
Nobody was alive, and then Jim McMahon. I don't know anything about Sid Luckman, but the two other guys have attitudes. I don't think Justin Fields has an attitude. I think he might be one of the best leaders that this franchise has ever got.
I agree.
It's insane, but I'm just like, that's where it comes back to, like, when I started this talk, I'm just slightly hesitant with this hype because it comes back to Matt Nagy, and I've been rowing the Matt Nagy boat forever. I like him. I like the culture he's built. I don't know if he's a great schematic coach. Like Mike Tomlin, we've made this comparison a lot. Mike Tomlin took his hands off at one point and said, I'm a great culture guy. I'm not a great schematic guy. And he let that go to someone else. Matt Nagy did that last year, and we found a little success. We found a little momentum. We were able to run the ball. I don't know what we're going to expect with him. I don't know, like, are we going to have design runs? That's going to be insane. That's a whole nother wrinkle that Matt Nagy gets to add to his offense that I don't even know if I'm prepared for. That's just like he could go so cute on us before we would even blink.
The thing I'm excited about Fields is he's not going to be a guy asking for the TVs to be turned off at Hallis Hall.
Yup.
He's going to be like, show me that, and I'm going to go on the field and show you.
No kidding.
That's what we need. But my final Chicago question for the pod before we transition is I saw David Kaplan from ESPN Chicago have a little thing on his Twitter of his top 3 Chicago athletes right now, or Chicago stars. Who would you make your top 5 Chicago stars right now? And if you want me to go first, I'll go. Or if you want to go, you go.
I got it. So number 1, it's Patrick Kane.
Yeah,
no doubt.
That's what I have too.
Number 2, I think number 2 is tough. I think you could go Javi, and that could go well. I saw his list, and I'm not going to reference it at all because I think KB being on there is a disgrace. I
don't think KB's 2. I have Rizzo at 2.
You could go Rizzo, you could go Baez. I think either one of those could go. I think for 3, you could really go Zach LaVine or Tim Anderson or Khalil Mack. I think you go Khalil Mack probably 3. I'd say TA 4, LaVine 5. That's my 5.
I'd have LaVine at 3. I'd have Khalil at 4, and I'd say KB or Fields at 5. I'd put Fields on there.
Wait. Really? Okay. No, I was just like the guy that's won the batting title twice. He has no errors this year. When
what has Tim Anderson done?
Javi Baez is second in the league right now in errors behind Fernando Tatis, who the Sox traded away.
You realize Javi almost won an MVP, right?
Yeah, Javi's on pace to break Adam Dunn's strikeout record.
And, okay, with Tim Anderson, what has he won? I'd really like to know.
Batting titles.
Okay. Empty awards.
Empty awards, batting 340.
Dude, I guarantee you Tim Anderson can go around the city of Chicago and people don't know who he is.
Cap. That is guaranteed. So cap.
Guaranteed. He could be walking along downtown Chicago, walking around, street clothes, and people would be like, oh, here's your table, sir. They just wait in. They'd be like, oh, Tim Anderson, okay. Thanks for paying my bill. Bye. See ya. Hope you had a nice meal at RPM.
No, see like now I know you're not a Sox fan because you say anything like that.
Dude, I guarantee. Okay, maybe if he goes around the South Side, they'd be like, "Oh, Tim Anderson. Okay, we know who he is." But in downtown Chicago, people, if they see KB on the street, if they see Rizzo, if they see Javi, they know who they are. They are recognizable figures. Tim Anderson. I'm sorry, nobody cares about Tim Anderson in Chicago. It's just not. They care about him, when they see him in a White Sox uniform. Sure, people care about him, but in street clothes. Tim who? Wait, you play for the White Sox? So cool.
So I've got a couple stats about the White Sox since we just want to like jibber jabber about them.
Of course you have some stats.
I wrote them down.
World Series champs is all.
No, it's cool. I wrote it down. So
we've got champions on our team.
One guy that you've been asking about a lot is Michael Kopeck, right?
Yeah.
You've been asking a lot about him. Well, opponents are hitting 152 against him. He has 35 Ks to 8 walks. That's pretty good. Okay. Rodon, who is the second best pitcher in the AL right now behind Garrett Cole, is holding people to 114, 44 Ks to 9 walks. And Kopeck hasn't even started a full game.
Yeah, because you know why he's not starting a game? Because the minute he starts starting, boom, elbows hurt. Boom, I'm back on the IL. Okay. I'm telling you, Rodon, okay. Nobody expected him to be as good as he was this year. He's kind of been the shock of the team, I think. And guess what?
Yerman Mercedes died, I guess.
In Mercedes. But here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I think Rodon is legit going to burn out. Rodon. Who cares?
I do.
He's legit going to burn out by July. Like, you guys are going to be like, Carlos who? He's our 5th pitcher? Oh, yeah, he was good in May.
Cap.
You guys are getting so bought into performing well in May. Do you realize almost every year of the Cubs dynasty, we have literally dominated May, except for this year, but like almost every year we've dominated May. And you will always say, you even talk about it, you're like, the Cubs are only good in May and June, and then they, slow down, they're awful, blah, 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 blah. That's literally the White Sox. That's literally who the White Sox are going to be this year. Like, you guys talk about trying to be like the Cubs. You guys are going to be the Cubs by August. Like, you guys, and not the 2016 Cubs, the 2018 Cubs.
The Sox have the best run differential in baseball, with having 3 stars out, and they are 28th in hitting home runs, something that everybody thought they would be doing at an insane clip. Well, a lot of guys are out. They're number 1 in the AL without hitting home runs, Sam. That's scary.
Cool.
That's scary. They're top 5 in team ERA. I think maybe even 2 behind the Padres. It's scary. I'm just saying, this team has the things that, like, you need to win when it matters. They're not good at what they're supposed to be good at right now, and they're still number 1 in the division. Yasmani Grandal doesn't swing the bat, and he gets on base more than Javi. Think about that. He is on base.
Cleveland's going to take over soon, right?
Yasmani Grandal's on base percentage. Yasmani Grandal's on base percentage without getting a hit in 5 games was better than Javi Baez's.
Wow.
That's insane.
Wow.
To think about.
Wow.
Right?
You know, it's just, I love that we record these episodes, and I love that we have a podcast, because when we get to August and September and October, and the White Sox are either not in the playoffs or they get in through the wild card and they somehow don't even win anything, I'm going to play these episodes back to Jack and every White Sox fan.
Please.
Just to remember how good you were in May.
Yes.
But you just fell off the face.
That's fine. That's fine. We got the looks. We got the looks right now, man. And it's all being done by a drunk 80-year-old guy who doesn't know the rules.
And guess what? He's gonna be fired by July. That's my
probably, dude. Like, I could totally see that happening, and it's okay.
You know what I would love to see is you guys hire Renteria back. Renteria. It would be wonderful. The guy deserves to be on a team with some winners. I mean, we let him go for Joey Madden, and you know, my boy Joey Madden, you know, just kind of dominated Chicago for a good 5-year period. You know, just one of the greatest managers of all time. But after that, you guys took our sloppy seconds. He did nothing for you guys.
That's all we exactly. That's what we paid him to do. Nothing.
And yeah, and like, you guys gave it, like, at least we respected him enough to say, hey, go try on the south side. Maybe you'd be there for a little longer than here. And you guys just disrespect him for a drunk coach. Just for a drunk, living in the past.
A Hall of Famer.
Delusional. Yeah, you know what? He's probably
drunk. Hall of Famer.
I was thinking about it. Tony La Russa coached Mark McGwire, as well as what's his face? The other Smash Bro.
Canseco?
Yeah, Canseco. Jose Canseco. There might be a reason why Mercedes is playing so well this year. I don't know. I think the MLB has to get back on them tests. I think Coach Tony's treating him like one of the horses in the Kentucky Derby right now.
That's when you know Cubs fans are a little rattled, is when they're making PED allegations on players who are just doing well.
I mean, we have guys like KB who we just know play the game the right way. So
he's getting traded in a month.
Nah, he's staying at Cobb. We're gonna pay the man. I have faith.
Would you rather pay? It's like a fuck, marry, kill. Would you rather pay Rizzo, Baez, or Bryant? You can only choose one. Because I don't see a lot of scenarios where 2 people are staying, mister.
I love KB, but I have to go Rizzo. He's the face of the franchise. I'd pay Rizzo. And it could be a bad contract. I don't care, but Rizzo needs to be a Cub for the rest of his career.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, realistically, all jokes aside, that probably will happen. I don't know if Javi will get that contract, but like, dude.
I think we pay Javi too, but I'm worried that KB is going to. I think the biggest thing that hurts us, honestly, is the biggest thing that helped us with KB, which is we kept him in the minors an extra couple months. Like, that's the biggest thing. I honestly think that's the biggest thing. With now, I think the guys are kind of like, oh, KB's coming back. Like, the one thing I'm worried about with KB is it's his contract year. So just like NBA guys who inflate their stats like that year going into the contract year, they get paid buckets of money in free agency, and then they fall off the face of the earth again. I'm worried that's a KB scenario type of thing where gets the $300 million deal or close to it. And then it's like, oh, I'm chilling now. I'm just going to go to Vegas when I'm hurt, chill with my family, go to my private batting cage with my dad. And that's about it. And I'm done. I won the MVP and I won a World Series. Yeah. Or it's the real KB who's back and surprises us all. If that's the case, I want to pay him. But, I think until we get to July, I'm still not completely sold on if this is the real KB. He has 9 home runs, though, so I'm happy about that. Because if you think about what he did his first couple of years, he basically hit 20-plus home runs and almost 100 RBIs every year his first couple of years. Just dominant. So if he can get to that, if he reaches that this year, I'd say pay him whatever he wants. I have complete faith.
Or trade him.
Trade him for what? We're not getting a good deal for
the
KB.
World.
We're not getting that. We're not getting that.
Yeah.
We won't even get one good pitcher for him.
Hey, what if the South Side made an offer?
We would never do that. Never.
They did before for Quintana. I don't know.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, but this time around, we are not desperate. We're not desperate this time. We're chilling.
The Sox, no, but what I'm saying is the Sox are right now. Like, they're hella desperate for a bat and an outfielder, and KB could do that.
So I would take
it's within the realm of possibility that it could happen.
Yeah, but I don't want to get like Carlos for him. I want like
you're getting pennies on the dollar and a B prospect, and you're gonna accept it.
I want like Mikey Kopeck. I want
Michael Kopeck's worth $300 million. And you're going to get him for like Javi and change.
I want Aloy because we need Aloy back just to say we have him back. And I'll take one more guy.
Aloy could never play on an – hold on. You want Aloy on an NL team?
Dude, we dealt with Schwarber. We can deal with Aloy.
Oh, my God. No, you can't. He's way worse.
And then I would take – who else would I take from your team? I mean, a lot of the players suck. So that's kind of the – we'll throw Tim Anderson in there just to
all right, I'm not even trades off the table. I completely disregard ever mentioning Chris Bryant being a White Sox. Never mind. I don't even want him now.
Good. He's ours. If he was a White Sox, if he did join your team, he would wear his World Series ring every day and just be like, this is the only one I'm ever going to get because I will never get it here playing for Reinsdorf. Because I'm going to admit, Reinsdorf's a loser as a baseball GM. He won the 05 or whatever your World Series was then, but he doesn't know how to win now as a baseball owner. That's all I have to say. You hired Tony La Russa.
Hall of Famer, brother.
You hired Tony La Russa. Yeah. If you
hired Tony subjects, this sucks.
If you hired Tony La Russa,
I hate Tony.
If you hired him 10 years ago, I would say great hire still because I'd be like, you could get 2 or 3 good years out of him. But, dude, Tony La Russa is probably drinking on the bench thinking he's in 1980s again. And he probably calls –
I'd rather hire Joe Torre.
He probably calls Mercedes Mark, and he probably calls Jose Abreu Canseco and stuff. And stuff.
Yeah.
He probably thinks of them as Oakland A's. Guaranteed. Or he probably calls Abreu, not Jose, Albert Pujols or something, I still think, speaking of that, I want Albert Pujols to be a White Sox. I think he could add a whole other dynamic to your team. It would be electric. Imagine on the south side of Chicago, you have one of the top 5 or 6 greatest hitters of all time on your team. It would be unreal. Imagine putting Jose as your DH and you have Albert Pujols play first base every day as your everyday man. He's a 45. He's listed at 41, but we all know he's 45. So imagine having a 45-year-old first baseman lead you guys to a World Series. Storybook ending right there. That's Grandpa Rossi level type of stuff.
I don't think I've ever heard of anything more unattractive in my life.
Oh, and speaking of Grandpa Rossi, shout out to Grandpa Rossi. He just got a new girlfriend. If you didn't see that. Chicago Med. Yeah. I didn't even know he was.
Who the fuck cares?
I saw it on Instagram. Just had to give Grandpa Rossi a shout out.
I can't believe we're honestly talking about David Ross's love life.
She's on Chicago Med. She's on one of those Chicago themed shows.
Cool.
So good for him.
I'm on the city off campus. It doesn't give me that much credibility. Screw Chicago Med.
Hey, I just wanted to show there's Tony La Russa, who's not even drinking at a bar. He just drinks in the dugout. And then there's Grandpa Rossi just killing the dating game in Chicago. Just killing it. Like, there should be a like, Grandpa Rossi was on Dancing with the Stars, which I give him a lot of, like, that was electric. It's the only time I ever watched that show. But I kind of think he should be on The Bachelor now. Like, he's like that type of dude. You know what I mean?
No, I don't actually know what you mean.
I mean, just like super successful, single bachelor, like living in Chicago.
Super successful.
Did he not get carried off of the field after the World Series? He's a champion.
Which career are we talking about? Playing
everything
or managing?
I'm talking about everything.
Oh, he's a manager right now. I don't think he cares about his playing career.
Dude, has he won games? Has he led the Cubs to the playoffs? Yeah, he has. In his first year.
Yeah, and what'd they do?
Well, we weren't at full strength last year, so it wasn't really his fault.
Here we go again with the full strength talk from
the White Sox, what did they do last year?
We lost to Liam Hendricks in Game 3, so we paid him $70 million to come pitch for us. That's what we did.
Yeah, but is he going to do it for you in the playoffs? Is still the question.
I don't know. He stinks right now. He doesn't look like Liam Hendricks.
I know. I even got him on my fantasy baseball team. I'll admit, I thought he was going to be good, and he's really screwed me over.
Same. Whatever.
But now going into something that I'm actually hyped about is Iowa football. We're in springtime. We just have to touch on Iowa football a little bit now, because once we get into July, we're going to be in full football gear at that point. Dude, what do you think Iowa football is looking like? I went to the spring game. It was electric being in Kinnick again. It was good seeing guys. Had to get front row. I mean, I got extremely sunburned. It was a whole recovery process. It was brutal. But I got to see Iowa football go down. I'm going to say my number one thing is, and, I'm sorry if he ends up coming on the pod later on, but I want Spencer Petras to be our backup quarterback. And I was a huge Spencer guy, but Alex Padilla looked good, dude. I like a mobile guy.
Dude, I've watched Padilla take snaps, and he, gets down, and he's, in a frog squat when he's taking the ball. And I don't like it. It just gives me anxiety because I feel like the ball could fall at any moment. And I know that's the stupidest reason I've ever said for not liking someone, but I just don't like the way he takes a snap. I didn't see it. I didn't see any of it. I was recovering from my COVID vaccine because that's a thing. I'll tell my kids one day that getting the COVID vaccine felt like getting COVID. I'm sure they'll understand what that means. Anyway,
I think it's because Jack's an Iowa State fan, so you just didn't want to.
Yeah. It was just that it was in the water. It was just crazy. I crazy reaction with my body. In any case, I honestly don't know what this team's gonna look like. They lost a ton, so it's a matter of if they're gonna reload. I wrote down all of the Hawkeyes that left for the NFL. Chauncey Golston, Amir Smith-Marset, Davion Nixon, Nick Niemann, Alaric Jackson, Brandon Smith, Sean Byer, Jack Heflin, Coy Cron, Cole Bonwater, Mekhi Sargent, Barrington Wade. It's a lot of guys. That's a lot of guys, a lot of holes.
A lot of guys, but we got some guys to fill those holes. We got Sam Laporta coming in now.
Sam Laporta's a dog.
He's going to be a first-round pick. I think that's where he's going to be. Honestly. I mean, we're tight end you. I think he's going to dominate. I think Charlie Jones is going to be electric, dude. I told you privately, off the air, his footwork, dude, looked unreal. Unreal. And then he was catching everything in sight. I don't think I saw him drop one ball. And then going into other people on the team, Riley Moss, I think, is looking really good. I think he's going to be great for our secondary. Jack Corner or whatever his name is. Kerner, yeah. He's going to be great. And he's coming back after a really horrible injury and everything happened. So I'm excited to see him play. And honestly, we're missing Golston. We're missing Nixon and some of those guys.
But you know who's going to step in on that D-line?
Who?
Joe fucking Evans.
That's right. And so we got Joe in there. We got some other – dude, some of the younger guys look good too. They really did.
Noah Shannon's good on the inside. He reminds me of Heflin.
Noah Shannon looked good. Even No, I'm not going to say who it was, but even a few other people look good too. But I'm not going to give them credit yet. We're going to make them earn it. But
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, but other people on that team look good. And then offensively, dude, just the wide receivers. Like, I'm excited for Nico Regini. Like, I think he's going to be a stud next year. I think, dude, like he looked good. And lastly, I mean, Tyler Goodson. I mean, dude, I think he's going to be like. People have been coming out with their top 5 college running back rankings right now. He's not been listed on anything I've seen, but I think he is going to shock the world next year, dude. Like he looks bigger, looks faster. He has so many games under his belt. I just think he's going to crush it.
Yeah, I mean, not to toot the Iowa State horn, but when that Cyhawk game happens and Breece Hall and Tyler Goodson go after it, those are going to be 2 of the best running backs in the nation and 2 teams that really like to use them and consistently apply pressure with the run game. Breece Hall is very similar, I think, to Tyler Goodson, which is the way they play between the tackles. The state of Iowa, man, they got some good running backs just all around. I can't wait for that Cyhawk game. Selfishly, I think you see all over.
Are we going to Ames next year?
Oh yeah, like people are always saying like, oh, the Cyclones are going to be a top 10 team. They're favorites to win the Big 12 behind Oklahoma or some shit. And it's like, all right, like let's pump the brakes. They had a great year last year, the historically best year ever. They had 3 losses. Like, let's chill. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility that Iowa kicks the shit out of Iowa State week 2. Like, truthfully.
Dude, I think we're for sure winning that game. For you to even consider we're not, just
no. But point being, no. But the national media has Iowa in the too early top 25 at like top 10, and like acting like Iowa State. I mean, rather, and acting like they're hot shit. And I'm gonna be honest, they're not.
I don't think they are. And I think Brock Purdy was supposed to be this godsend of a quarterback, and they did well last year. Like, but Brock Purdy,
he's like their dark horse, like Heisman candidate. Even though nobody expected Breece Hall to be that dark horse Heisman candidate. So I think we're going to have like an unreal Cyhawk matchup this year in football. I'm so pissed we couldn't get it last year.
I know, me too. We got one of those matchups in Iowa City. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But you know what? Right before we wrap up, because I can't end on Iowa State, I just want to say, Jack, you know, we just had last pod. We had Philip Rabacha on from Iowa basketball, who's going to be one of the newest players. Who's your starting 5 for Iowa basketball next year with Luka Garza leaving, with, a few other guys leaving, Michael Bear, part of the bench mob, and some of those other guys, CJ, maybe Wheezy. Who do you have at top 5? And you can even give a top 5 with Wheezy, without Wheezy.
So I'm just going to go without Wheezy. I feel like my gut's saying Wheezy won't come back, but there is that outside chance that he comes back and warms my heart up and makes me really tingly inside. I've read all over, and I'm sure it's known if you don't know it. J-Bo's going to play the 2. He won't play the 1.
No way.
J-Bo is playing the 2.
Wow. Breaking news.
So I want Joe T. to start. I want J-Bo at the 2 because I think he's the most consistent deep threat they'll have. At the 3, I'd love Pat. The 4, I'd love Keegan. And then at the 5, you put Phillip. And then 6 man is Connor. I wouldn't be against Connor over JT, and if they bring Toussaint off the bench, but like that could be purely just based off of matchup if they see the need to do that. But I think Toussaint needs more playing time, and I think Jordan could afford to lose PT.
Yeah.
Again, like I don't know who will take those minutes from him. I would love to see Perkins get more playing time, see what Ulis can do this year.
They both will.
Agundale, obviously, and the new kid from Iowa. I don't know his name, Mulkey or some shit. I don't even know. He looks like a baby. So we'll see if he's anything. But
he's supposed to be the next Luka.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what he's supposed to be.
Right, and Jack Nungy was too, and then he left and broke my heart. So let's see how that goes.
Now, my starting 5, I'm going to do, since you did without Wheezy, I'll do with Wheezy just to make it a little more interesting. At the 1, I mean, I am so excited for this because I got a taste of this last year for a bit when J-Bo was hurt. Joey T at the 1. Can't wait to see Joey T at the one. It's going to be electric. It's going to be Energizer Bunny energy all the time, ready to steal ball, ready to get a layup, dude, I'm just so excited. He's going to bring that New York grit to the team. Then we got the 2. I'm excited about having J-Bo there, and I'm going to tell you why I'm excited about having J-Bo there, is the fact that he's a shooter, he shoots, and he's not going to be carrying the ball up the floor, which I love.
Right, and he won't be that primary defender on a point guard, because that was one thing Iowa kept getting torched on was those pick and rolls.
And when he's been hurt with hips and stuff, it was horrible. So we get that off, and he'll be an undersized 2. But I don't think that's a bad thing when he's guarding most of the other Big Ten 2s. Then at 3, we got Joe Wieskamp. If he's on the team next year, him and Toussaint are going to be a dynamic 1-2 punch. Dynamic, play fast, play hard, bring the ball up the floor, kick it out, whatever. At the 4, I have 2 different ideas with this, but I'm going to go with my small ball lineup because I think this could be really fun. Just, Pat talks about all the time on the podcast. They like to play fast. They like to play hard. Have Pat at the 4, and I think Pat opens up the offense where he's going to be shooting the ball from the 3 a lot more, like how he was doing at the end of the year. He can get blocks. He can make stops. He has the length and size to guard some bigger guys. And at the 5, have Keegan there. Because the thing is, you look at Kofi Cockburn, he's leaving. A few of the other bigs in the Big Ten are going to be gone. So besides Hunter Dickinson, how many other huge Luka-sized guys are there really going to be who have a lot of experience?
None. It's just honestly like if Travion Williams is back, him, EJ Lindell, him.
I thought EJ Lindell even announced declared for the draft, so I think he's gone.
Like he could still come back, but
he could come back, but I think he's gone.
Right. So but there is that one kid from Purdue that's 7'4".
Yeah.
He looks Asian, but there really isn't that many like big guys in the Big Ten that are worth like talking about.
So it's just like I think we could do that small ball thing. I think Keegan's going to be our number 1 or number 2 option just in general, just because he can make plays. Like that's all that guy does is he makes plays and he dominates when he's on the floor. And I don't think I've not seen an Iowa basketball game where I'm like, whoa,
yeah,
what is Keegan doing? I'm hyped. I mean, we've seen some of the early mock drafts where people have him going first round, late in the first round, which has all of us Iowa basketball people hyped to see an Iowa, guy actually get drafted that high. But yeah, I just thought we should touch on some of those lineups. So then when we go into next basketball season, we can say told you so.
There's been a lot that's gone on. Oh,
yeah, dude.
They put Austin Ash on scholarship, for Christ's sake.
Dude, we got Ash on scholarship. It's wild, but Ash is a guy I promise to our listeners, we are going to work to get Austin Ash on the podcast sometime in the next year. We are going to make sure we get scholarship Austin Ash on the podcast. I mean, Pat's said on the podcast before, who would you want on the island with you? Who would you not want on the island with you? And every time the answer is Austin Ash. So we need that, and we will get that for you. And on that note, Jack, you want to wrap up this pod?
Of course. And as always, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and download Good Pods. Go ahead and follow Sam and I on there as well. You can get some good podcast recommendations. Right now, I'm looking for something else to listen to. I'm a little burned out. So you guys have any recommendations, please shoot them my way. Like always, not the same time, same place. We will see you guys later.